Greetings, my name is Taras, and usually I refer to myself as a PR manager at game dev industry, but today I'm most of all Ukrainian. And this is most important thing for me right now. And I'm glad to welcome you here at Game Gathering Game Dev Under Bombs. This is a unique event, event of unity, event of support, and event for Ukraine. And today we will be joined by a lot of game dev industry specialists that will tell their stories, that will share their experience, and most of all, this is an event where we all stand for Ukraine. Thanks for joining us today. Please share this link to this event to all your friends. And I would like to start with our first speaker for today. It's head of HR at G5 Games, Svetlana Zotke. Welcome, Svetlana.
Hi. Can I start?
Nice to hear.
Nice to hear you.
Yeah, I will just start your presentation so I can see you clearly. I can hear you, so please, Svetlana, take your time.
Okay, thank you a lot. Hi, everyone. My name is Svetlana Zotke, and today I will tell you my story. My story is a story of an ordinary person. If you lived in the same city, I could be your neighbor, colleague, or classmate. I know that in order to completely understand what another person feels, you need to experience it. I don't wish anyone to live through this. Therefore, I hope that through my story, you will be able to feel and learn more about the terrible events in Ukraine. Let me shortly introduce myself. I'm a Russian-speaking Ukrainian, born in Mariupol, and have been living in Kharkiv for the last 16 years. Both of the cities are dear to me. Both cities border Russia, and both are now literally on fire. And unfortunately, both of the cities have become world famous. But this is not the glory I wish for my country and my native places. I have been working at G5 Games for past 6 years, where I have grown from HR manager to a head of human resources. I'm married and I have a cat and dog. 5 years ago, we bought an apartment in Kharkiv with mortgage. And the beginning of this year, we started building our dream house. But this plan wasn't come true. There are dates that you will never forget. For me, one of them is February 24th, 2022. A couple of weeks before the date, the air already smelled of war. All news channels and many IT companies literally screamed about the impending danger and urged them to move to a safe place. My intuition told me that I needed to leave, but my mind denied it. I didn't believe that there could be a war in 21st century. At 5 a.m. on February the 24th, I woke up from loud pops. The first thought in my sleepy head was that they were fireworks. But what fireworks in 5 in the morning? I realized that there are sounds of shell explosions. There was a feeling that there sounds very close and the tanks were already driving along the main road of the city. My heart began to beat at a speed 2,200 beats per minute. Terribly noises and wanted to go vomit. Faithful to a strong danger for a living being. My husband and I looked to each other. I said, only one thing. I packed our things. And he said, I go to a gas station. It was a very simple dialogue with a very strong meaning. Immediately, close friends began to write to me. And from that minute, it became clear to whom you are truly dear. Everything is very simple. There are the people who care about you right after they come to their senses. We quickly agreed that we would leave and meet in Poltava. This is a neighboring city from Kharkiv. I called my mother. She lives in another region, and she said, and I said that we were leaving. Mom asked one word: "Has it started?" I answered, "It started." And she began to sob in the phone. At the moment, I gathered all my will into a fist, reassured my mother, and continued to pack things. Have you ever thought about how you can fit your whole life in a few bags? I began to collect all the tourist and trekking things, what we only had, from warm clothes to a sleeping bag. I had to leave all my usual and favorite things, favorite sweater, for example, my beautiful shoes, because you're able to live without them. I thought that a set of things should allow me to literally survive in the field under the open sky in winter. When I started to panic, I just stopped, exhaled, and continued. My brain worked like a machine. My husband returned with a full tank of fuel. In Ukraine, it's a tradition to sit down before a long trip. We call it to sit down on the path. We quickly sat down, and my husband said, "Do you understand that we may never come back here?" I understand this, although the brain did not really want to accept it. The sun rose and the first cars began to leave. People decided to stay, were collecting water. Others went out for a walk with their dogs, but there was fear on everyone's face. We left 2 hours later after the unforgettable awakening. There were already severe traffic jam. You can see in this picture, I have only one. On the ring road, the radio gave alarming information that the Russian Federation had attacked Ukraine without declaring war. In Poltava, we met with friends and waited for each other. We were driving in 4 cars, 9 people, 4 cats, and 2 dogs. When our journey began, there our eyes may look in the literal sense. We didn't know where we would spend the night in that place, whether we would get there at all. Our plans for the future have been radically rescued to one day. We decided that we would to throw the center of Ukraine towards western by passing Kiev. Kiev, it's our capital. In regular times, from Kharkiv to the last point of our destination to the city of Chernivtsi, usually takes 16 hours or travel there. Instead of that, our journey took us 3 days of a really hell of road, from 12 to 16 hours driving every day, terrible traffic jams, the number of cars arriving, blocked bridges and roads, shelling and explosions nearby, air raids. I clearly remember 2 moments. The first, when we were already driving late at night along a country road, 4 cars in the dark, and the guys with rifle in black uniform slowed us down, and the first driver was asked to get out of the car. I thought, well, what's going to happen next? Who is this? But they will they will kill the man, take away our cars, and the women will be raped and thrown in the field at night. But thank God, it turned out to be our guys, our Ukrainian guys from the territorial defense. They again turned us off the road, but while telling us to the best way. The second time was we went stood in a traffic jam to the horizon at the exit from one of the city and announced in air a raid alert. I understood that there were fields nearby and even nowhere to hide. I have never looked instantly at the sky. I want to say that all the time while we were driving, we found an overnight stay for free. Let me remind you that there were 9 people, 4 cats and 2 dogs, and it's not an easy thing to find a place to stay even in regular time. Every day someone through acquaintance found lodging for the night for everyone. Each of us played a role, and we centrally would have cooked alone. The first night we spent in a hotel. One of us had some relatives, and they contacted the local mayor of the city. When he found out that we were from Kharkiv, we were accommodated for free, offered to stay for several days. The second night, I found the overnight stay through my friends on Instagram. I posted a story, and the kind person who provided us with a house responded. We were fed and given food to go. Launched for the third night, also found by one of us. Luckily, it turned out to be a free apartment where we still live. We were also placed with absolutely no money to rent, and the only condition was a payment of utilities and the end of the month. I want to say that I met many Ukrainians with kind, open hearts. We were allowed to stay for the night and given housing by people who we saw for the first time of our lives. This terrible war had an expected effect. It united the whole of Ukraine from east to west. For almost 2 months, we are living away from home with things what fit in the trunk. We often ask our dear people, how are you? I consider myself lucky. I have a warm apartment, what we share with friends, access to clean water and fresh food. I have a job and money to buy what I need. But I consider myself lucky because most Ukrainians spend the second month in schools, subways, underground parking lots, or cold cellars. Many of Ukrainians don't have an access to clean water and have to cook their food over a fire using rainwater or river water. After the terrible stress of 3 days on the road, when we arrived, I just lost the flow of time. I had a period when I just fell out, a calendar week. Fortunately, the company gave all Ukrainian employees 2 weeks to move and recover, and I had my time to recover. You will never know how you will react in such situation, no matter how strong or weak you are. But now there is also a digital war going on. Every day of my life starts and ends with watching the news. For me, the information from Kharkiv and Mariupol is not just another video of destroyed houses. In such video and photos, every frame, every home, every window, tree, and even cat under the porch is familiar. You cannot ignore that is happening there. Sometimes I cry, but tears won't help anyone. In one of this video, I saw that my apartment was destroyed. This is the left picture. And our houses is not longer suitable for my life because a rocket flew into it and burned it down along with my past life. In the right side, you can see my home of my dream. And there and here you have two options. To understand that life's going on, understand that you can earn money again, or be sad about the past forever. It's pretty tricky to balance on the upper limit, but personally, I think everything will be fine. Also, I have constant emotional swings. It roughly looks like this. Today, you have anxiety about your lost ones who remained in Kharkiv and Mariupol, and not only. Tomorrow is the joy of the news that somewhere we beat Russians. Today, the feeling that there is nowhere to return in your house. Tomorrow, you wake up, you walk around the city, the weather is fine, like in spring, and you decide that the world's beautiful and peace will soon come to your country. But today, you're covered with a feeling of guilt that you walk here, and even drink coffee, and there are people in hell somewhere, in true hell. Tomorrow, you see how people collect money, volunteer, and unite. Tears of joy in your heart, and you believe that with such people, we will organize everything. But tomorrow, you will ashamed that you are not doing enough. Also, you don't always have strength to pull yourself away from society and at least do something. But today, you talk with a loved one, and you feel so warm and so good. And it's been like that for 2 months. Now I have focused on charity at work. The company helps disclaimed people, doctors, and rescuers, employees of the armed forces of Ukraine, and animals. On my own behalf, I also help volunteers and people who need help. There is expression in Ukraine: you need to try anything in this life. So no, not all. There is experience without which you can do just fine. I'm not happy that I got stronger this way. I didn't choose this path. I wish every person have the freedom of choice. And if they decide that they want to move, then only of their own free will. Have a peaceful sky about your head, because I was preparing for this speech to the sound of an air alarm. And always remain to be a kind person. do deeds for which you will be proud, not ashamed. And please remember that nothing can be postponed until tomorrow, because life is today, here and now. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question for me, please find me on Facebook or in Pine. That's all of my speech.
Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you for your truly sincere speech, and I'm glad you're safe now. I'm glad your family is safe. I'm sorry for your losses. I wish you to stay safe and to be alive, because we all will rebuild our country, no matter what.
Yes, I believe in this too.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any question to Svetlana, please feel free to ask her here in chat, fine, or find her on Facebook, Svetlana Zotke, and I believe she will answer any questions. Thank you, Svetlana.
Thank you.
We should be safe, and see ya.
Yes, I wish all Ukrainians being safe.